face to face. Munihi, the king who was silent due to full mental satisfaction. Pravardha Bhaktaya, with an attitude of increased devotional service. Pranaya Ashru Lochana, with tears in his eyes because of love. Praharshta Roma, his hair standing on end due to tribulation. Anamat, offered respectful obeisances. Adi Purusham, onto the expansion of original personality. Translation by Shabad Ki Jai. As soon as Maharaj Chitraketu saw the Supreme Lord, he was cleansed of all material contamination and situated in his original Krishna consciousness. Being completely purified, he became silent and grave, and because of love for the Lord, tears fell from his eyes and his hair stood at end. With great devotion and love, he offered his respectful obeisances unto the original personality of Godhead. Papat by Shabad Ki Jai. The word Tad Darshana Dvashta Samashta Kilbisha is very important in this verse. If one regularly sees the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the temple, one will gradually be disinfected of all material desires simply by visiting the temple and seeing the deity. When one is freed from all the results of sinful activities, one will be purified. And with a healthy mind completely cleansed, he will increasingly make progress in Krishna consciousness. सा उत्तमश्लोकपदमाज विस्तरं प्रेमाश्रुलिशेर् उभमेहयन्मुहुः प्रेमो परु प्रेमोपरुधाखिलवर्णनिर्गमो नैवाशकत्तं प्रसमीदतं चिरम्. Chitra Mataji, go ahead please.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Chitra
Hare
Moini
Krishna.
Ji and Surya Prakash Rao Prabhuji, you both are co-hosts. Mataji, you are a host now.
You are co-host too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, pranams Mataji.
Thank you, Prema Prakash. Hare Krishna.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Sa Uttama Shloka Padabja Vishtaram Premashulaishu Upamehan Yanmuhaho Prema Paruddha Akila Varna Nirghamo Naivashakattam Prasameditum Chiram. Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you, Mataji.
Yuretni Ratnangi Mataji, go ahead please. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, pranams Mataji. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Savuttama Shloke Padambaji Vishtaram Prema Shloka Shairupa Mehayan Muhuha Premo Paruta Dakile Varna Nirgamo Naiva Shaktam Shakatam Prasamidutam Chiram. Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you. Surya Prakash Rao Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी प्रणमालु ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय सवोत्तम श्लोक पदाब्ज निष्टकरुं प्रेमाश्रुलेशैरु उपमेहयनु मुहु प्रेमा परुद्धा अखिल वर्ण निर्गमो नैवासकत्तं प्रसमीडितुं चिरम्. हरे कृष्ण माता, धन्यवाद.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Sahahi, Uttama Shloka of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Pad Abja of the lotus feet. Vistaram, the resting place. Prem Ashru, of tears of pure love. Leshe, by drops. Upamehayan, moistening. Muhu, again and again. Prema Uparuddha, choked with love. Akhil, all. Varn, of the letters. Nirgamaha, the coming out. Na, not. Ev, indeed. Asakat, was able. Tam, unto him. Prasamiditam, to offer prayers. Chiram, for a long time. Translation by Shabad Ki Jai. With tears of love and affection, Chitraketu repeatedly moistened the resting place of the Supreme Lord's lotus feet. Because his voice was choked in ecstasy, for a considerable time he was unable to utter any letters of the alphabet to offer the Lord suitable prayers. Papat by Shabad Ki Jai. All the letters of the alphabet and the words constructed by those letters are meant for offering prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Mahachitraketu had the opportunity to offer prayers to the Lord by composing nice verses from the letters of the alphabet. But because of his ecstasy, for a considerable time, he could not join those letters to offer prayers to the Lord. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 5th chapter, verse 22, Idam hi pumshas tapasa shrutasya va shritasya shuktasya cha buddhi dattayuh avichyito artha kavibhi nirupito tad uttama shloka gunanu varnanam. If one has scientific, philosophical, political, economic, or any other abilities and wants perfection in his knowledge, he should offer prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead by composing first-class poetry or engaging his talents in the service of the Lord. Chitraketu wanted to do this, but he was unable because of his loving ecstasy. Therefore, he had to wait for a considerable time before he could offer prayers. Om Agyan Timirandasya Gyan Anjan Shalakaya Chakshir Unmedam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manovishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamahiyam Dadati Savadantikam. Hey Krishna Karna Sindhu Dinbandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kantha Radha Katha Nabastute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishbhanuste Devi Pranamami Hari Priya. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर सादि गौर भक्तवृंदा. हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. नमामि विष्णु पदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नामने. नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे. Upon reaching the shelter of Lord Shesha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Chitraketu saw that he was as white as the white fibers of a lotus flower. He was dressed in bluish garments and adorned with a brilliantly glittering helmet, armlets, belt, and bangles. His face was smiling and his eyes were reddish. He was surrounded by such exalted, liberated persons as Sanat Kumar. As soon as Maharaj Chitraketu saw the Supreme Lord, he was cleansed of all material contamination and situated in his original Krishna consciousness, being completely purified. He became silent and grave, and because of love for the Lord, tears fell from his eyes, and his hairs stood on end. With great devotion and love, he offered his respectful obeisances unto the original personality of Godhead. With tears of love and affection, Chitraketu repeatedly moistened the resting place of the Supreme Lord's lotus feet. Because his voice was choked in ecstasy, for a considerable time he was unable to utter any of the letters of the alphabet to offer the Lord suitable prayers. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th canto, which is called as the Prescribed Duties for the Mankind, chapter 16, which is called as
King Chitraketu meets the Supreme Lord.
Chitraketu meets the Supreme Lord, yes. And here we are reading that how Chitraketu has gotten the darshan of the Lord, literally. You see, the heart was ready because of the purification of by the instructions of Narad Muni, and also hearing from the mouth of the soul which has re-entered the body of the dead child. The level of detachment had arisen. Vairagya Vidya, this materialistic world became very, very menial. Otherwise, a conditioned soul is trying to find something in the material world. Like we are trying to find something. Why there is constant increase in the number of shops, number of destinations, number of travel plans, or number of websites. What is the reason? You see, a material problem cannot have a material solution. The solution always be spiritual. What is the reason? Initially in the few years ago, as much as I would say 50 years ago, people were not in search of so many things. weren't they content? I remember my grandparents, like, they were content with their life. This shop, this circle of friends, this temple, this job. The people stayed in one job until they retired, right? 30 years, 40 years, 45 years. Yes or no?
Yes, Mataji.
Mataji.
Definitely.
Yes, there was no like constant change or constant endeavor or constant search for something better, something better. There was a level of satiation, there was a level of satisfaction. Why? Because the conditioned soul is trying to find something. We are trying to find something in this material world. And that something is that happiness. Okay. No one is going to make an endeavor to become unhappy. That's never going to happen because that's not how we are programmed. We are programmed to be happy. All kinds of material medical treatments, why are they being increased minute by minute by minute to alleviate a disease? Because nobody likes to be diseased. Okay, now why is everyone trying to earn more money, more money, more money? Because money means, according to them, more money means more happiness, more education, like more assets. So Ramanishta Prabhu told us one time, a very long time ago, I would say maybe 15, 16 years ago, he said, um, most of the people, he asked this question, most of the people, when they are sitting, let's say in the car, or in the bus, or in the train, or in the airplane, they're sitting, what kind of a seat most of the people would like to have? Where would they like to sit?
Window
Near the
Window
window.
seat.
You said it. Yes. So he said, yes, we also told him the same thing. It was 15, 16 years ago. I said the window seat. He said, yes, because the conditioned soul is trying to find something. They're trying to look out. Is my happiness out there? Is there something that I can see that will make me happy, or that will be a next adventure for happiness? But we are going to get thoroughly defeated if it is not going to be an endeavor to find Krishna. Okay, our mind is designed to cheat us because it is uncontrolled at the moment. And if I'm going to follow the verdict of the mind, then it is going to be very, very difficult. We read in Gita Nagari this morning this powerful verse. It's Prahlad Maharaj's instruction. Let me just bring it up. The 7th canto, 16th chapter, 6th chapter, verse number 16, I think. This one, verse number 11 to 13. This verse. I'm just going to read the translation just to say that how deep the acharyas know our heart. Okay. How can a person who is most affectionate to his family, the core of his heart, being always filled with their pictures, give up their association? Specifically, a wife is always very kind and sympathetic and always pleases her husband in a solitary place. Who could give up the association of such a dear and affectionate wife? Small children talk in broken language, very pleasing to hear, and their affectionate father always thinks of their sweet words. How could he give up their association? One's elderly parents and one's sons and daughters are also very dear. A daughter is especially dear to her father, and while living at her husband's house, she is always in his mind. Who could give up that association? Aside from this, in household affairs, there are many decorated items of household furniture, and there are also animals and servants. Who could give up such comforts? The attached householder is like a silkworm, which weaves a cocoon in which it becomes imprisoned, unable to get out. Simply for the satisfaction of two important senses, the genitals and the tongue. One is bound by material conditions. How can one escape? And then it goes on that one person can only escape by the powerful or strong personality, which comes in the form of spiritual master by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So connecting this to here, that when Chitraketu saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his heart became fully satisfied. And he could actually, Sukhdev Goswami is also getting the darshan of the Lord. That is why he's able to write that Lord Shesha's was as white as the white fibers of a lotus. He had, just try to think it in your mind, he had armlets, bangles, waist belt, what is bluish garments adorned in a brilliantly glittering helmet, armlets, belt, and bangles. His face was smiling, eyes were reddish. He was surrounded by such exalted, liberated persons as Sanat Kumar. You know, this is so funny, but we have done crazy things in Krishna consciousness in our youth because we came so early, and we're like so grateful for that. So one time, one of our friends was struggling with an attraction to someone, okay, in college. So it's like, okay, and we didn't find that person attractive at all. So it happens that somebody finds somebody attractive and you don't. You're like, what is there in that person that you're finding attractive? It happens. Does it happen? Did it happen with
Yes,
you?
yes. Yes, yes.
So we're like, how do we do this? How do we like put this person back in its place? There's nothing. So anyway, so we did an experiment. We gave our friend the small, now Minister Prabhu used to give us, because we would travel to work, no, and like the college, small pocket Hare Krishna Mahamantra cards. On one side was Hare Krishna Mahamantra, on the other side was a picture of the deities. So we gave this friend of ours the picture of the deities and Hare Krishna Mahamantra on the other side, okay? And then we said that, okay, we have half an hour travel to the college every day, back and forth. So, for just this whole month that we are traveling to this place, just don't do anything, just look at this photo. Just look at the photo of the deities. And our friend was like, what are you guys talking about? I said, just look at the photo of the deities. There's nothing. You just have to look. You're looking here and there anyway. Look at the photo of the deities. By some good fortune, our friend agreed. So look at the photo of the deities, look at the photo of the deities, look at the photo of the deities, look at the photo every day, half an hour. People will think that she's mad or something, but she's looking at the photo of the deities, looking. And then at the end of the month, she's like, Krishna is more beautiful than anyone. I'm not, I'm purified. So we're like, wow, this really happened. This really happened. I have seen this. So it's like you just look at the photo of the deities. Prabhupada has said it. When your mind is so disturbed, you cannot even chant Hare Krishna. You cannot make any decision. Just go and sit in front of the deities. Just sit down. Just look at Radha Radni. Just look at Krishna, how nicely dressed they are, how nicely garlanded they are, how nicely the altar is. Just sit down and look. That's it. So just by looking, the deity enters the heart because it's spiritual, right? And then we get purified. The heart settles. One of my friends, he lost his son in sleep, maybe 3-4 years ago. He came to Gita Nagari and he said, all I want to do is just sit down. He's a very big doctor in Mecca, but he said, I just want to sit down in front of Radha Damodar and I just want to look at the deities all day long because that's the only thing that gives me some solace. So just by looking at the deities, like when you go to Radha Govind next time, just sit down, find a corner and look at the deities and you will get so much of revelation and realization that who Krishna is and what the definition of beauty is. Okay, and in this particular verse, because he was so cleansed of all material contaminations, that he was actually situated in his original position of being a servant of Krishna. And then he did not have anything to ask, but he wanted to offer prayers to Krishna. Okay, he wanted to offer praise to Krishna, but what happened? That because of the ecstasy, the eyes were covered with tears. The eyes were covered. So they see the Krishna consciousness is such a personal philosophy. There are emotions, there are feelings, and each and every feeling has its own place. Okay, each and every feeling has its own place. It's not like impersonalism that we have no feelings. It becomes zero. There is nothing. No, actually, the most elevated devotees are most emotional devotees. they are so much in touch with their own feelings for Krishna that they can actually help any conditioned soul to elevate. So he's, even Arjun's feelings are explained so many times in Bhagavad Gita. Here we can see that his heart was joyful, his eyes were covered with tears, and he was in ecstasy because his hair was standing on end. And then he offered his obeisances to Supreme Personality of Godhead. But when he first started to speak, his voice was choked. Why was it choked? Because of the ecstasy. This, and then there was a pause before he could speak and recite some nice prayers from the alphabets for the glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because the ecstasy was coming in the way. Okay, so this is a very remarkable journey of Chitraketu, that where he was so attached and attempted so many times. One of my friends, we were talking one day and said, if Chitraketu tried 10 million times to have children, then how many times should we try to before giving up any endeavor if it is not materializing? If like it's not materializing, that I want to become a millionaire, I want to become a millionaire, I want to become a millionaire, I'm doing this, that is not happening. So how many times, can a condition, so like how many times can I give it a try? And then say, okay, I've given my effort, I have told my prayers, I have done everything I could in my power. Now this is Krishna's hand, he's not allowing it. She said 3 times. She said, you do the effort, you put your endeavor, you do your best, and also you put your prayer. But if it doesn't materialize, then you say that this is Krishna's hand. Krishna is not allowing it, there's some other plan. And then you let that plan unfold from Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is not easy. It's not easy. It's not easy to do in all circumstances. Now, Manisha Prabhu told me one time that it is not easy to follow Krishna's plan always. It's not easy because we get impatient. We get impatient that what is the plan? Tell me, tell me, tell me. Or Krishna's plan might be completely different. Like we have from the life of Srila Prabhupada, he wanted to become a millionaire so that he can worship Krishna, but Krishna's plan was that everything got burnt out. He had to leave his job, he had to leave his family, he had to take sannyas, he had to go through that ordeal and bring Krishna consciousness to the West. Okay, so if our plan is not working out, then there is a hand of Krishna. In the devotee's life, we always see like this. In a non-devotee's life, because they don't want, there is Krishna factor, but they don't want to see Krishna factor, then the onslaught of the karma is very hard. It's like a whiplash. Okay, it's a very hard. The full karma takes effect. But in the life of a devotee, as long as we remain devotee and we have that Krishna conscious mentality, association, then everything will turn out to be Krishna conscious. It will be Krishna conscious in the beginning, in the middle, and at the end. Okay, so there is no need to get disheartened. Or even if we get disheartened, try to understand that there is a bigger picture which is waiting behind the curtain, which we cannot see. And then we'll see like Chitraketu's life. Just we should, reflect on this chapter after we finish these verses, that where he was, what he was, he did such a big yagya to have a child. He got the child. He was very happy with the child. The attachment was growing so well. He was a good father, so-called good father. But then the child was poisoned right under his nose. And he was a good king. Right? He was maintaining his kingdom in a very orderly fashion. It was not that his son was not killed by attackers from outside. It was his own family that actually put poison in the mouth of a sleeping child, and the child died. And then with the child, the mother and the father of the child were almost dead. But a stronger personality appeared, Narad Muni, along with Angira Rishi. And then the whole thing turned around. We can take so many lessons. One lesson I was reflecting was, when we'll finish, remind me how to process loss in our lives. In an average, it is said that a person goes through 2 to 3 big major losses in their life, major, that they consider major. This is the average. Some people will have more, some people will have less. Like average life turning event, and is big life turning events 2 to 3. Okay. Now, some people are not able to process that. Time goes, circumstances change, but we remain somehow or other stuck. Somehow or other, we do remain stuck. But then Krishna conscious perspective is so strong that it can unstuck us, can unhook us, and place and free us. These things bind us. They bind us to the material world. They bind us to our own thinking. They bind us and make our subtle body ready for next body, because unless and until we get free, we'll not go to Krishna. We have to get free. We don't have to force ourselves, but there is a Krishna conscious way to get free. So I'm thinking we should talk about that, how to process this loss in a way that we become Krishna conscious, especially during COVID, or there was so much loss, right? So much loss was there. And some people are still processing. And then, of course, each one of us have seen the life's ups and downs so many times by now, right? So understand that seeing Krishna means purification. And purification means that I am making progress. I think I'll stop here. Any questions, reflections, realizations, corrections?